Hi. We are standing by for live coverage here from 12 News.
What? What's up with that? So bizarre. They didn't like ever say like, they just were like, oh, sorry.
I would prefer to call.
Like, how do you like Market Basket? How do you like not hire? Unless they're like the Unabomber. Fuck. It's
You're saying that because I'm wearing a hoodie like the Unabomber?
Yeah, exactly. Unless they're like the Unabomber.
He had a
No, dude. It's just crazy to me.
Just need some aviators. Has Corbin told you anything?
Yeah, Sam just told me to call in to line 2.
Vote Texas 2022. Brought to you by Nature's Federal Credit Union.
Good evening, Southeast Texas. We're coming on the air with special coverage of the 2022 Texas primaries from 12 News. Some of the first results are coming in right now.
That's right. So let's check in with the Texas governor's race. Now, on the Republican side, 7 other candidates are challenging Governor Greg Abbott. Now, this is Abbott seeking his 3rd term, and here are the numbers that you see on the screen. Abbott leading in the polls 69%, with Don Huffines behind him at 13%.
Yeah, Abbott got to be feeling pretty good. Again, these are just early numbers, but he has really a strong lead at this point with 69% of the vote coming in. So as we flip to the Democratic side tonight, there are 4 candidates running, including former Congressman Beto O'Rourke. And by all accounts, Beto is going to pull this off early in the evening, and likely it would appear that he will be the November challenger, which is what the polls have all been showing. So we would likely be looking at a Beto versus Abbott showdown come November. You know, even with huge races like governor at stake, voter turnout is typically low in primary elections.
And 12 News reporter Simona Barca joins us live from right here in our 12 News election headquarters. Simona, what are experts telling you about the reason for the low turnout?
Yeah, I spoke with political science professor Megan Collins today, and she tells me while most people think the general election is more important than the one in November, it's actually the other way around. But just how low is voter turnout for a primary election? Well, if we compare this year to the last similar midterm in 2018, the voter turnout goes from a stark 17% to 46.3% in the general election, according to the Texas Tribune. But here's why experts say the primaries may be a more important election to vote in.
They think that if they're taking time away from their family, that's the most important election to vote in. And it's actually the opposite. The primary race is the more important of the two because you have to decide amongst several within your party for one position who you think would represent your party or your values the best.
The ideal scenario is obviously to vote in the primaries as well as a general election in November. But Megan says she just wanted to let people know that the primaries are just as important as the general election. Now that polls have officially closed for the day, we'll have new info about voter turnout and what it looked like this year in comparison with previous years coming up later on tonight. For now, I'm Simona Barca.
All right, Simona, I'm over at the big board tonight. We've got new information just coming in from the Texas Secretary of State's office, and we can display it in real time and give you county by county data. So right now I'm looking at the Republican race for governor. We were talking about how far ahead Abbott was. Let's zoom in here in Jefferson County. Abbott is definitely carrying Jefferson County with 79% of the vote. And similar situation, don't look like we have Orange County numbers yet. So these counties will eventually be turning red as some of the data comes in. But again, Abbott in good shape tonight. We're going to flip over to the Republican race for Lieutenant Governor. Dan Patrick certainly fighting to hold on to be the state's second most powerful Republican in office. And you can see he is in fairly good shape at this point with 77% of the vote. These are early numbers. As we flip over to the Democratic side, we've got Mike Collier, a man who turned himself a financial watchdog. He's an auditor and an energy expert. And by early numbers here, Letitia, Mike Collier looks like he's going to be the one who's going to end up challenging Dan Patrick come November. So we'll be watching these numbers come in real time throughout the night.
Good stuff, Jordan. All right, now let's turn to a congressional race where there are 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans vying for Texas District 14. Now they're all looking to unseat incumbent Congressman Randy Weber. Now Weber's been serving since about 2013, and here are the GOP results for that. You see Randy Weber up with at 90% of the vote. Keith Casey behind him with 7%. Now Casey did run for the House back in 2016, but was defeated by Weber then. And on the Democratic side,
yeah, let's take a look at some of the Democratic races. And at this point, you can see Michael Williams with 60% of the vote over Eugene Howard. This is a race I know that you've been watching closely. We've been trying to see exactly how this was going to play out. Michael Williams is a lawyer, a family law attorney based in Kemah. He's a former CPS investigator. Howard from Houston, he's talked a lot about fighting for jobs and justice. So this may in fact be a fairly close race. Here at home in Jefferson County, we're just getting some of the returns in tonight. We've got 3 Republicans, Letitia, that are running in the county commissioner's race, Precinct 2 County Commissioner.
That's right, and 12 News reporter James Grant is following this race closely, and he joins us live tonight. James.
Yeah, Letitia, Jordan, it's quiet out here right now. It's a much different story about 30 minutes ago. The polls closed just under 30 minutes ago here at the Marion and Ed Hughes Public Library in Nederland. But let me tell you, mid-county voters, they definitely showed up today. Many of them focused on the race for Jefferson County Precinct 2 Commissioner. 3 Republican candidates with strong ties to Mid-County, Alex Rupp, Kerry Erickson, and Sean Miller, are facing off in this one. They talked a lot today about their mutual respect for one another and the experience they each bring to the table. Rupp brings years of management experience, while Miller has served in local law enforcement since the 80s. Erickson has worked for Jefferson County for a while and attended every commissioner's court meeting over the years. He says he's grateful for the community's support and satisfied with the voter turnout.
Let me tell you again. The voting's really picked up this afternoon here at the Hughes Library, and we're so thankful for that. Glad folks are getting out and exercising their right to vote.
Erickson, Miller, and Rupp all say issues like drainage and keeping taxes low are their focus, among other things. One of the candidates even told me earlier he thinks we could see a runoff in this race tonight. So be sure to stick with 12 News on air and online tonight as we keep you updated on the latest developments in this race. Live in Nederland, James Grant, 12 News.
Thanks, James. And now let's move now to the race for Texas Attorney General, where incumbent Ken Paxton faces challengers from 3 other Republicans. Let's take a look at who is leading that race. As you can see, Ken Paxton up with 45% of the vote, and George P. Bush, who was pretty much expected Jordan to challenge him, he has about 20% of that vote now. And let's see.
I wanted to say, Letitia, just to jump in here, somebody's got to get 50% +1 to avoid a runoff. Yep. Likely in third at this point, we're showing the top 2 vote getters on the screen. Likely in third is Congressman Louis Gohmert from the Tyler area. So right now, if this were to go final, we'd likely have a runoff between Paxton and George P. Bush. And Bush is certainly fighting to survive in this crowded attorney general fight on the GOP side. I believe we have a report tonight from Tony Pileski from our sister station in Austin.
I'm Tony Plaheski in Austin. A big question for tonight is whether or not embattled Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton will face a runoff. He's got 3 opponents. They include former Texas Supreme Court Justice Eva Guzman, former East Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert, and George P. Bush, Texas Land Commissioner, who is from a political dynasty. Tonight's race is also seen as a test of the endorsement of former President Donald Trump, who has called for Paxton to be reelected. We'll keep you posted from here in Austin throughout the evening. Back to you.
All right, that's Tony Pileski in Austin. I was just looking at some of the new data coming in, and I may have misspoken, Letitia. I was guessing that Gohmert was in place in second spot, but it would appear that Eva Guzman here on the AG's race may be in second behind Paxton. Again, these are very preliminary numbers, roughly 85,000 votes. So these are the early votes that are coming in from across the state, and we'll start to see some of these counties turn red as Paxton's numbers come in. So we'll keep an eye on that. So as far as who is going to be likely challenging Paxton over on the Democrat side, this would be, at least with 48% of the vote. Let's learn more about this. This is Rochelle Garza. She is a lawyer who grew up deep in the Rio Grande Valley, in Brownsville to be specific. And she has been talking a lot about some of the issues that she will be focusing on come November, things like protecting civil rights, the fight against or to protect families' health care, and also welcoming refugees and immigrants. That's what you'd expect. She is a candidate, again, from deep down here in Cameron County, right on the Texas-Mexico border. Letitia, I'll send it back to you.
All right, and our election coverage continues into Orange County, where candidates are fighting to be the next county commissioner in Precinct 3. Our 12 News reporter Gloria Walker is live in the Orangefield Museum. Gloria, what did you see as voting came to an end today?
Well, voting just ended about 30 minutes ago, and it was, it's dead now, but it was pretty full around 5 o'clock, and now we're entering the waiting game to see who will come out on top. It's a work crowd that could really make a difference in numbers tonight. We saw an influx of people after 5 o'clock making their way to polls to cast their vote. Earlier, we caught up with one of the candidates running for County Commissioner Precinct 2 for Orange County. Robert Lunsford spent time today campaigning. He told 12 News why he is qualified for the position.
Well, the county commissioner is, by definition, basically simple. They're in charge of roads, bridges, county budgets and stuff like that. I have the field experience. I work for Orange County now with the Road and Bridge Department, and I look forward to getting into the seat and learning about the budget.
Orange infrastructure has been a hot topic. People have voiced concern about flooding and wanting better protection. Keep your eyes peeled on 12 News for any more race updates as we get everything updated for the Golden Triangle. Live in Orange, Gloria Walker, 12 News.
All right, Gloria with us there. Letitia, with some of the early returns coming in around Jefferson County and around the state. We're going to be scrolling them at the bottom of your screen as we continue our special Vote Texas coverage. And of course, we should also let folks know we're going to be back in less than an hour now, right?
Yeah, that's right. We'll be back here at 8:15, so stay with us. Make sure that you tune back in on our streaming platforms. We'll be with you in less than an hour.